Hey guys, Sunday the 21st, William here with Patriot Containers, bringing you guys some more useful information on the cargo container industry and blowing the whistle on all these crooked companies ripping you guys off. Patriot Containers was started 11 years ago because I used to work for crappy companies that just never did anything right for all the customers I was selling to. And once I finally figured it out, I was like, I don't believe a word I'm telling people on the phone anymore. I can do this better than you guys. And I left and I started Patriot Containers. I've sold 15,000 containers in 11 years, and I don't have a single complaint in 11 years from an actual buyer. I actually have 3 complaints, which is, by the way, if those were actual customers, that's still unheard of. But if you ever read my 3 complaints, it's 3 angry people that never bought a container from me, and I was an asshole back on the phone. I just don't put up with mean people anymore. I'm 47 years old, been selling containers for 13 years. I just don't have patience for mean people. That being said, I get this question every once in a while. If I buy used, it's just whatever I get, and that's not true with me. But why do people say that? Why is it a reoccurring question? If I buy used, whatever I get is what I get. Well, I think I have the answer to that. I think when you guys call these horrible companies that only sell 1 new and 1 used, yes, that's basically with what they're saying. All bets are off. If you buy a used one, whatever you get is what you're going to get. That is completely untrue with Patriot Containers. I buy directly from shipping lines that I have accounts with that I've been buying from for 11 years. I own a cargo container company that has a resale certificate and also, obviously, a business. I have to have an account with shipping lines to buy from them. These containers are inspected for 5 different things for used: damaged, as is, wind and watertight, cargo worthy, and IICL. IICL looks the best. Cargo worthy is the second one that looks the best, and both those containers cannot have a hole. They can't leak, or they won't be in that upper class. Where quality starts to get thrown out the window is when customers buy wind and watertight, as is, or damaged. Those 3 things cannot look good. They're going to look horrible. So on these crappy companies that are saying we just sell 1 new and 1 used. If you like your container, if you care about the way your container looks, you have to buy the new one. Well, they're telling you that their used one is like a grab bag. If you ever bought a grab bag when you were a kid, you pay $5, you don't know what's in this bag, and you pull it out and it's a bunch of junk. That's how these horrible companies run their business. They sell with a cheap price, you don't know with what you're going to get, and then they show up with a crappy container that they have a profit margin on, and all you are is a profit and a commission, and they're off to the next victim. The warning signs of these types of companies that I'm telling you about, and I'll tell you right now, we're nationwide, we're the most reviewed, we have 25-year lifetime warranties. If you don't like your container in 60 or 90 days, you can get a full refund. You have got to read the terms and conditions on their website. Everything that they just said was total bullshit. The reason they're the most reviewed is because they get the most complaints in a short amount of time that they've been in business, and they have to purchase fake 5-star reviews on Google and the Better Business Bureau so their score doesn't go down. The reason I know I'm right about that is obviously I see patterns when they get bad reviews. They have to, all of a sudden, good reviews start coming in on Monday through Friday. They do not come in on the weekends. But if you ever go to their Yelp, they have a 1-star rating on Yelp. And Yelp actually takes down all their fake overseas reviews. And so these companies that have this amazing score on Google and BBB, they have a shitty score on Yelp because Yelp takes down their paid for reviews, but Google and BBB doesn't. But yeah, back to this question of, if I buy used, is it whatever I get? And it's not. That does not happen with Patriot Containers. I have a choice of what I can purchase. I have a choice of what I can sell. I have a choice of what I can say to you to make a sale. I choose the truth, and I purchase good used containers called Cargo Worthy, and I purchase IICL, and of course I'll sell you a new one. If I sold junky containers to my customers for the last 11 years, why don't I have a complaint from an actual buyer that bought a container from me? Why? It's very simple. Patriot Containers purchases upper class used containers that actually look good and function correctly, and I sell new ones. But also, I have a service behind it, which is very good communication. You're not going to be left in the dark. And then my driver shows up on the day that you were told it was supposed to be there. That's it. That's why Patriot Containers has no complaints in 11 years from an actual buyer. So yeah, but I've always wondered, like, why do people always think that when you buy a used container, it's just whatever you get? Somebody's telling people this. And if it's reoccurring, I believe the salespeople, you can sell with lies and over information, or you can sell with under information. I believe that these crooked salespeople sell with lies when they say they have warranties. I believe they say lies when they say they have 30, 60, 90-day refunds. But I think they undersell their containers with minimal information or lack of transparency. So you don't really know with what you're going to get. And so when they say, oh, when you buy used, it's just going to have light surface rust, and our used containers are inspected before we load them up. That's a bunch of bullshit. The drivers pick up and go, and they're not inspected. The only time that these containers get inspected is when they're making it from the ocean, and they make it, and the shipping line is still owning these containers, and they have to go into a depot, and they have to go through an inspection process, and then they're stored there till they're sold. That's the only time they get inspected. So these companies that only sell one used, if you ever read their terms and conditions, it says wind and watertight only, but they'll deliver you a container with holes. I just don't understand how they get away with that. I understand how they do it and their terms and conditions, but they're not really purchasing you guys wind and watertight containers. Wind and watertight containers can't have a hole, but they're ugly. These companies are purchasing you guys as is containers, which are lower than wind and watertight, and that's how you guys get containers with holes. But yeah, Patriot Containers, I've been purchasing good containers for my customers for 11 years, and I don't have a single complaint from an actual buyer. I don't like to make these videos as sales pitches. I want to make these videos as awareness videos to where if you're actually finding this video, it makes sense of what I'm saying, so you know the warning signs. We're nationwide. We're the most reviewed. Lifetime warranties. Money back, full refunds. Go read their complaints. Go read their terms and conditions. Listen for the warning signs. If you read their terms and conditions, it's on their website. Their website. It's going to prove me right. So, anyways, guys. Have a good one. Sometimes I get heated in these videos. I'm just passionate. These companies ripping you guys off piss me off. When I first started selling containers, these kind of companies weren't around, and they've really screwed this industry up. And I'm doing something about it with my YouTube channel. So hope you find my videos. I hope if you don't buy a container from me, I hope you don't get ripped off and you end up with a good product that was delivered to you on the right day. And that's it. That's the whole point of this video. In sales, you win some and you lose some. It's always been like that. But I just can't stand these companies that are just lying about everything to make sales. It sucks. Anyways, guys, have a good one. Bye.